We can speak to the head of the Palestinian mission to the UK, Dr. Hussam Zomlot. Dr. Zomlot, thank you so much for joining us here on the programme. As Alex was saying there is so much resting on this truce, but of course it is so fragile, so complex, and the difficulty is, will it hold?
We hope so. This is the only glimpse of hope amid such carnage that you've just reported, a small part of it only today. We hope so. We work towards such a ceasefire, but we are adamant to reach a permanent, comprehensive ceasefire, because after what we have seen in terms of the utter mass murder, destruction, tantamount to genocide, the ethnic cleansing, of every 4 people in Gaza, 3 have been displaced, the starvation. I think we need a permanent ceasefire, and we believe that these poses of feeding our children for a few days and then resuming killing them are unconscionable. We need to really make sure that this hold. And it is good news that hostages will be released from both sides. And while the world is hailing the release of 50 Israeli hostages, good for them, nobody is talking about the hundreds of Palestinian children that will be released, that have been taken hostage by Israel even before the 7th of October. Even before the 7th of October. So this is an opportunity to expose the rotten, corrupted system of racial domination that Israel has erected in the entire
Mr. Zomlot, I just want to ask you on that point that you've just made about the Palestinian prisoners, because there is an expectation that 150 Palestinian women and children will also be released from Israeli prisons. The Israelis say that some of the women and children in that group are terrorists. How do you react and respond to that?
Well, for the Israelis, every Palestinian is a terrorist. For the Israelis, every human being who supports our rights, everybody who calls for the end of the occupation is an anti-Semite. For the Israelis, every Jewish person who supports our rights is a self-hating Jew. They have ready labels for everybody. Our children are children. They deserve love, protection, they deserve a different future, and never in the history we've seen rounding children without charge, without trial, without access to their parents or even lawyers. This is savagery. What Israel has been allowed to do has really demolished all the rules that we have built together after the horrors of the Second World War. And the international system, the rules-based international system, was based on 2 things. The first is that war should never be the first option, and this was Netanyahu's war of choice, because he waged a war against our people, our children, our hospitals, our schools. A war of choice. This was not a war. This was not a war between Netanyahu and Hamas. This was an Israeli aggression against our people.
Mr. Zomlot, the Israelis will say that it was a result of October 7, that there was no war and bombardment and ground offensive before October 7. But regardless of that, I just want to bring you back to what's happening here this evening, because if we talk about this prisoner release of 150 Palestinian women and children, this is something that the Palestinian Authority has pushed for and has asked for a long time. But you haven't been able to make it happen. And yet Hamas tonight is negotiating these deals, negotiating for these prisoners to be released, calling the shots, speaking to the Qataris, speaking to the Egyptians. What is your role in all of this?
Of course, Israel has been clear, public. Netanyahu is public. They have been very adamant, clear on their goal to undermine the Palestinian national institutions, the PLO, the Palestinian National Authority, the PNA, and they were absolutely clear in feeding and keeping and maintaining the division geographically and politically. And Netanyahu said they will never allow for the Palestinian Authority to return to Gaza, and he and his government have been absolutely busy
Someone does need to govern Gaza post this conflict.
Yelda, this could not be seen partially. This isn't about Hamas or Fatah or the PLO. This is about an overall aggression and an overall strategy that has been with us for more than a quarter of a century since Netanyahu has taken power.
Mr. Zumlot, I know, and I know that you want to get these talking points and off your chest.
They are not talking points, Yelda. Don't describe. No, I'm sorry.
I know.
They are not talking points. Netanyahu was elected quarter of a century ago, and on the record said he is there to derail the Oslo peace process and to finish off the two-state solution. These are not talking points. This is the truth.
I understand. I know, and what I'm trying to say to you that it is. I know that it's been a difficult 6-7 weeks for the Palestinians and for people here in Israel. But what I'm trying to say to you is I'm just trying to get a better understanding from you as a representative of the Palestinian Authority what your role will be in the future. What is the plans by the Palestinian Authority? Their role. Will you have a role in Gaza? Will you have a role in the two-state solution? Are there any conversations around this at present?
We are already in Gaza. We have never left. I am from Gaza, Yelda. And Gaza is an integral part of our fabric of who we are. Much of the Palestinian leadership is from Gaza, from the founders like Yasser Arafat all the way to today. There is no separation. We are united people all through history. And this has been a people struggle for a long time. That's why we should introduce it. However, our responsibilities are huge. There is the state of Palestine that is recognized by the majority of the world, minus the UK, a couple of other Western countries, and the US. And that state has a seat in the United Nations. The state of Palestine has to provide protection and provide services to its people. Now is the time to talk about a comprehensive sovereignty for the state of Palestine that includes Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza. We will reject partial solutions or security or military solutions for that matter. The state of Palestine must be recognized. The US and the UK must remove their veto from us becoming a full member of the UN. They must remove the veto for us accessing ICC and the ICJ to bring about accountability. So never again we shall ever see such horrors against our children, against our women, against our families, against our neighborhoods, against schools and hospitals, against, what has been happening over the last few weeks is a blueprint for making sure that Gaza is unlivable. So we need to make sure that the state of Palestine protects its people. So the Israeli narrative about who takes over and the second day must not be part of our discussion.
The day after. Indeed. There is a lot of talk at the moment about the day after, and we're grateful that you have joined us again, Mr. Zumlot. Thank you so much.